Loon Song. Written by Marcia Wakeland. Illustrations by Sasha Sagon. The cry slipped into my dream and roused me from a gentle sleep. A haunting laugh the cry had seen, filled with shadows deep. I opened my eyes, slipped out of bed, and tiptoed quietly across the cold floor. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, but it wasn't dark. From the window of the cabin, I saw the midnight sun hovering on the horizon. The lake was calm and quiet. It was too early to wake Grandma. But I couldn't wait. I knew who had made that cry. I slipped out the door and went down to the shore, curling my knees to my chest. Then threads of mist swirled up from the lake, and mosquitoes buzzed about my ears. But I didn't move at all. A dragonfly danced along the surface of the water. He flew closer and closer. Then he whispered as he passed, "My dear, why are you here?" "I'm looking for the loon," I whispered back. "The loon?" the dragonfly asked, landing on my outstretched hand. "Whatever for? You know his reputation. Crazy as a loon." "He's crazy as can be. But I do know about the loon," I replied, a little puzzled. "Grandma has told me everything, but she never said the loon was crazy." The cry came again. Dragonfly and I stopped to hear the eerie notes of the song. "Listen to that," scoffed the dragonfly. "Tell me that isn't strange." "That's why you think he's crazy?" I asked. "That's proof enough for me. He sounds like a lunatic," said the dragonfly, laughing. "But he is strange in other ways." Before I could answer him, he said, "Look, there's the loon now." I saw a dark shape gliding and sliding in the water, around the far bend of the island. My heart beat faster. "He's beautiful," I breathed. "He's strange," said the dragonfly. "He's loony," a new voice buzzed. I turned to see a fat bumblebee settled in a nearby flower. "You think the loon is crazy, too?" I asked. "Certainly," she replied. "He's not like the ducks and the geese on this lake. The loon dives down and you never know where he is or where he'll come up. A shady character, I'd say." As if on cue, the loon disappeared as we watched. "That's not strange," I said. "He dives to escape trouble or to go fishing." Grandma says he can be underwater for 5 minutes and dive down 200 feet. It's quite remarkable. My two new friends rolled their eyes and said, "That couldn't be. He's crazy. As crazy as can be. Besides, you haven't seen his eyes," said the bee. "The eyes of a madman." Perhaps the loon was curious about me, too, because he popped up from the water not far away. I didn't say a word. My eyes danced as I followed the black and white markings on his back and neck. Then I looked into his deep red eyes, and his deep red eyes looked back. "Scientists think the color of his eyes help him see underwater when he dives," I whispered to the others. "A likely explanation," said the dragonfly. I watched the loon carefully, not wanting to miss a thing. The loon seemed friendly. I smiled, hoping that he would come closer. "Stay away, madman," hissed the dragonfly. "Watch out, lunatic," buzzed the bee. The loon looked startled and disappeared underwater as suddenly as he came. "You've hurt his feelings," I cried. "Nonsense. He has no feelings," croaked a nearby voice. I turned to see a frog lounging on a nearby lily pad. "You should have more respect," I said. "The loon's ancestors date back over 10 million years to the age of the dinosaurs." I said, "He really is from the Dark Ages," Dragonfly replied. "Maybe that explains why he can't even walk on dry land," Bee said, giggling. "He falls over." I knew they wouldn't listen, but I said, "Loons are born with their legs set far back on their bodies. It's hard for them to balance when they walk. My point exactly, said Bee. Doesn't he belong here, said Dragonfly. And look at your friend now, Frog said, pointing out to the lake. I could see the loon raising up on the water, flapping and splashing his great dark wings in a strange exotic dance. He's gone a little off the deep end, I'd say, smirked the frog. I sighed. That is just how the loon preens himself. It makes him look more handsome. The frog replied, It's obvious that you refuse to see the loon as crazy. Crazy as can be. I was sure they were wrong, but how could I prove it? I watched the loon out on the lake, paddling slowly into some grasses on a far shore. Have you ever met the loon? I asked. Certainly not, said the dragonfly. Too risky, said the bee. Whatever for, said the frog. Well, I'm going to meet him, I said. I think he wants to be friends. I set off along the shore. I didn't turn around, but I could hear that my new friends weren't far behind. It wasn't long before I heard the loon's call close by. I stopped and peeked through the bushes. Oh my, I whispered. What is it? Asked Dragonfly. Is it scary? Asked Bee. Come and see, I said. I stepped out onto the shore, and my three friends followed close behind. He's all dressed up, said Dragonfly. He's got a girlfriend, buzzed the bee. Jumping Jehoshaphat? He's getting married, said the frog. The loon turned slowly in the water to look at us. Let me introduce you to my bride, said the loon. We stayed a long time on the shore that early morning, talking and laughing and celebrating the marriage. The loons tried to teach me how to sing like them. Everyone laughed. Then the loons called to one another, and their song echoed across the lake. It was wild, rich, and full of mystery. When the last notes ended, we all sat quietly for a time. Grandma will be wondering where I am, I said, yawning. And we must let you get off on your honeymoon, said Dragonfly. Yes, time to leave the two lovebirds alone, buzzed the bee. The frog didn't say anything at first. Then he bowed to the loons and said, Please pardon us for calling you crazy. We were crazy to judge you. The loons bowed back, and they glided away into the light of the early dawn. I wandered back to the cabin and slid into bed, the notes of Loon Song filling my head. It lulled me back into a dreamy twilight, a loon song, a love song on a midsummer's night. The end.